Welcome back to Horror Recaps. In a few seconds, you're going to listen to a frightening tale narrated by me. Fear awaits you. Watch out and take care. The movie opens with Jane and Ton, her photographer boyfriend, at a friend's party. In reminiscence, Ton and his friends joke about college, reminding each other of their lives as a student. One of Ton's friends asks Jane, who is in her 4th year of college, how she met Ton. After the party, Jane drives them home. As the two serenade, Jane withdraws her face from the road, causing a crash. Jane hits a young lady, with the victim still lying helplessly on the road. Jane attempts to rescue her, but Ton stops her from getting out of the car, asking her to drive away. Jane heeds to Ton's warning and drives away, leaving the girl on the road. The next scene shows Ton at a graduation ceremony taking pictures. All is going smoothly until Ton wants to take the class group photograph. As he focuses his camera, he notices an image of a ghost in the group. Stunned, he looks away from the lens, hoping to see the ghost with his bare eyes. Unable to see it, Ton takes the photograph. Not long after that, Jane's friend Natre asks about her to Ton, making assumptions that they broke up. Later that night, Jane joins Ton where he is working. Ton tells Jane he has been calling her cell phone all day, asking if her phone was on silent, and Jane says no. Ton goes further to tell Jane that Natre asked about her as Jane angrily walks out. Ton follows her, asking what is wrong. Jane questions Ton's action, asking why he hasn't talked about the accident, and why he's acting like nothing is wrong, also blaming him for not waiting to help the girl. Ton tells her it was just an accident. Besides, someone else must have helped the girl. Pissing Jane off, she angrily leaves Ton's apartment. The next morning, Ton goes to retrieve some processed photos. Looking through the pictures, Ton notices a mysterious white shadow in the photos, asking if the photo processor has broken. Upon checking, he discovers the fault is from his end, wondering how it happened. The next scene shows Jane entering Ton's apartment without Ton in sight. Jane goes to look for him, where a ghost confronts her, screaming. She wakes up, and it is all a dream. Later in the day, Ton informs Jane about the mysterious image in the photos, stating he doesn't know how to inform Natre, the owner of the pictures. Looking through the pictures, Jane says the image looks like the girl from the accident. Ton pays her no attention, concluding that his camera is faulty. Later, Ton and Jane go back to the scene of the accident. They meet a construction worker, who reveals the accident wreaked havoc. Ton asked the worker if casualties were recorded, and he said no. The duo left wondering what happened to the girl. Ton's friend also reveals he checked at the hospitals and police station. No case is recorded, making Ton believe there is no connection between the girl and the mysterious images. Later, Ton goes back to the film house, revealing his worries, but he is told the mysterious image is a result of double exposure. But feeling unconvinced, Ton and Jane investigate the issue further, and they find out that the existence of ghosts is real. They also discover that when a ghost haunts a person, it could be for love or revenge. Ton is then encouraged to find out what must have gone wrong. On their way home, Ton reveals he has been having constant neck pain since the crash. Jane suggests he goes to the hospital. After a photo session with a couple, Ton is haunted by a ghost in his apartment. The next morning, Ton goes to the hospital to complain about the neck pain. To the nurse's surprise, Ton weighs double his original weight. After a series of tests and an X-ray, the result shows Ton is healthy. The doctor added that the neck pain is a mere muscle strain. At the pharmacy where Ton is to take a medical prescription, he hears the nurse call him a liar without moving her lips. Ton runs out, terrified. Later that night, Ton dreams of seeing Jane in a classroom with blood oozing from her eyes and mouth. Terrified from the dream, Ton leaves his room to the living room. Ton finds his friend Ton fidgety, asking for a certain picture from Ton, leaving Ton confused. Ton took Ton's outburst as drunkenness and attempted to inform Ton's wife over the phone. When he looks back to check on Ton, he is nowhere to be found. The next morning, Ton searches his bookshelf for the picture Ton mentioned the night before but lies that he is arranging his books when Jane asks. While in Ton's apartment, Jane looks closely at the graduation pictures and discovers the mysterious image is hovering at a particular place in all the pictures. Upon her discovery, she goes to the school and finds out the spot in the photos is the school laboratory. Getting to the lab, she takes Polaroid photos and successfully captures the hovering ghost. A photo frame falls at that moment. Looking closely at the picture, she finds out the girl in the picture is the same girl from the accident. She finds out the girl's name is Natre. Jane also finds a picture of Natre and Ton, suggesting they were acquaintances. Meanwhile, Ton visits Ton at home. He looks around for Ton but can't find him. He finds several pictures scattered on the table. Looking forward, Ton sees Ton standing on the balcony, and before he can say a word, Ton eliminates himself by jumping off the balcony. At the hospital, Ton's wife confronts Ton, blaming him and his other friends for being the cause of the catastrophe, also informing Ton that his other two friends have also eliminated themselves. Later that night, Jane shows Ton the picture of himself and Natre, inquiring about the relationship between the two. In a flashback, Ton reveals that Natre was a shy girl who deeply loved him and attended the same college as him. Barely having friends, Ton befriended Natre. Along the line, a romantic relationship ensued between the two. Shortly after, Ton decided to break up with Natre, but due to the love she had for him, she threatened to take her own life. Ton says he has never heard from her ever since then. Believing that his friends were coerced into eliminating themselves by Natre's ghost, Ton becomes convinced he will be next. Subsequently, Ton and Jane travel to Natre's village to see her mother, introducing themselves as her friends. They inform Natre's mother of her daughter's wandering spirit, showing her pictures. Ton and Jane associate Natre's wandering spirit with the fact that she hasn't been buried as her remains rot away in the bedroom. They suggest that Natre should be given a proper funeral, which her mother declines. Later that day, a man reveals the cause of Natre's death, informing them that she previously suffered a drug overdose but was discovered by her mother, who rushed her to the hospital. After her recovery, she still ended up taking her own life. Since her death, her mother refuses to cremate her body, becoming traumatized after her daughter's death. Later that night, Ton and Jane spend the night at a hotel, where Natre's ghost haunts him. Escaping from the grip of the ghost, climbing down a ladder, he falls off and is injured. Somehow, they manage to convince Natre's mother, and she agrees to cremate her body. After the cremation, Ton and Jane return to Bangkok. Upon their return, Jane goes to the film house to retrieve some photographs. Looking through the pictures, she discovers images of Natre's ghost crawling toward the bookshelf in Ton's apartment. Jane goes to Ton's apartment to search the bookshelf, discovering a negative picture. She takes the pictures to process it. Jane finds out that Ton's 3 friends took turns violating Natre. Ton met them committing the act, and he was asked to take pictures of them during the act. After the discovery, Jane concludes that Natre was trying to warn her all along. Eventually, Ton arrives at the house. Jane confronts him, and he admits his friends truly committed the crime and that he took the pictures under peer pressure. Disgusted at Ton for being a party to such heinousness and not stopping his friends, Jane walks out of the apartment, ignoring Ton's plea. After Jane leaves, Ton burns all the photos. Knowing fully well that Natre's ghost still haunts him, Ton goes around the house taking pictures, hoping to catch a glimpse of her, but fails to capture her. Frustrated, Ton throws the camera in rage, only for it to go off and take a photograph of Ton, showing Natre sitting on his shoulders and revealing the true cause for his neck pain and double body weight. Natre covers his eyes, and while trying to fight her off, he loses balance and falls out of the window. The movie ends with Ton on a hospital bed with his bandaged head slumped over. A teary Jane visits him, and as she closes the door, the glass reflection shows Natre's ghost sitting on Ton's shoulders. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so that you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.